Hello and welcome to the Brass Dragons Music Channel. My name is Ralph Martin, and today we're going to be talking about Major Scale Diatonic Progression. Now, as I've talked about in the past, in my last couple of videos, diatonic just means within the scale, okay? We're just staying within the major scale. Today I'm going to be using the C major scale, no sharps, no flats. This can apply to virtually any scale whatsoever. I just happen to pick the major scale because it's kind of the easiest and it's most generic to understand. Alright, now I'm going to review just a real quick little bit. C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now those are the degrees of the scale, but we also do the same thing with the chords. We have the C triad, the D minor triad, which is the 2 chord, E minor, which is the 3 chord, F, which is the 4 chord, G, which is the 5 chord, and in some of the examples I'm going to be adding the 7th onto that. I'll talk about that in a minute. A minor, which is the 6th chord, B diminished, which I don't really use today, and back to C or 1, okay? Now most chord progressions have something very similar in common, at least in traditional music. The 1 chord somehow will lead to the 5 chord, which is called the dominant, which leads you right back to the 1 chord. So it's resolution. It needs resolution, back, resolve. Especially if I add the 7th. Now, the 7th degree of 5. We call this 5 of 1, okay? Because we can have what's called secondary dominance, and we'll talk about that in another time. But the 5th note, starting from the root of the 5 chord, in this case, the root is G, B, D, 3rd and the 5th, and then the 7th is an F. So if I add that to 1, 5, 7, now this really wants to resolve. Okay? So that's how we do all this. Alright? Now we can add what's called a subdominant in the middle of that, which is the F. C, which is the root. F, which wants to go someplace. G7 wants to resolve someplace. Back to 1, resolved. Kind of a resting place, if you will. But now, remember I talked before about substitutions within the diatonic major scale. C has the substitution of the A minor. See, it's still got that, it's minor, but it still has that flavor from the major. The F has the D minor as the substitution because it still has the F and the A as the dominating feature. The G has an E minor as a substitution. And it can also have the B diminished as a substitution too. Mostly because it is tritone in here, because it still wants to resolve to the root, or C. You with me so far? Okay, good. So now, using what I just said in mind, 1, now I'm going to go to the substitution of 1, which is A minor. So I'm still kind of in the 1. I'm going to go to the substitution for the subdominant, which is the D minor, to the 5 chord, 5 of 1, which is the G7, and then back to 1. So this is 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. It's been used a real lot. I've got rhythm. It's used in a lot of doo-wop songs back in the 50s and 60s. I mean, the places it's been used is just astronomical. And there are little substitutions in there, things that are very close to it. But it's a very tried and true progression. And a lot of times progressions will start with 1, 6, 2, 5 or 1, 6, 4, 5 and go other places from there, and that's perfectly fine. Okay? But today we're going to start with 1, 6, 2, 5. 1, C major, A minor, 6 chord, D minor, which is the 2 chord, G7, and then back to 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a modern drum track that I have in my piano. I'm going to play the progression with some added stuff so it feels like the basis of a song. Okay? It sounds like this. That's 1, 6 minor, 2, 5, 7, and back to 1. 6 minor, 2 minor, 7, 1. I'm going to play it twice as fast now. One, 6 minor, 2 minor, 5, 7, 1. All right, so very typical progression. Now I'm going to take that progression and move things around a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move everything down 1. Instead of starting on the 1, I'm going to start on the 6, but I'm doing exactly the same progression. And see how it feels a little different, starting on the 6, 2, 5, 7 of 1 to 1. Now, with the 1 being at the end of the phrase, it feels like it's done there. And in a sense it is. But I start all over again. Now let me play my beat thing here again and watch how this works. Okay, so 6 minor, 2 minor, 5, 7, 1, 1. And let's do it again. Okay? See how that works? And it still works as a progression. It's just a little different. See, a lot of modern progressions took the traditional progressions and kind of threw away the rules, kind of bent them a little bit. Now, I'm just staying within the diatonic realm of things, but in reality, you don't have to stay diatonic. You know, you can do other substitutions. But I'm going to stay diatonic just to keep things even with us. Now I'm going to do that same thing one more time, but I'm going to start on the 2, okay, which is the D minor, go to G7, C, and then A. So it's kind of like going dominant, subdominant, dominant, root, or tonic. Okay? It sounds like 2 minor, D minor 7, G7, C, A minor. Still feels kind of at rest, but it's not quite done. let's see how that feels with the beat. Remember, we're starting on the 2 chord. 2 minor, 5, 7, 1, A minor, back to 2, 5, 7, 1, 6. Okay, I ended back on 1 just to give it a finality, but this particular one kind of want to keep on going. Now I'm going to take something from a very popular standard jazz song called Autumn Leaves. I'm going to make a slight change to the progression I just did. Instead of going G minor, G7, 2, 5, C, and then A minor, I'm going to go back to the subdominant. I'm going to go to F, and in this case an F major 7. So I'm going to do 7th chords on all of this because it's a jazz song. They like to use a lot of 7th chords. So we're going to go 2 minor 7, 5, 7 of 1, 1 major 7, 4 major 7, the F major 7. Now let's see how that feels like 2 minor 7, G7, C major 7, F major 7, 2 minor, 5, 7, 1, 4. See how that works? And that's another one that can, normally you would start with this and go someplace else, like Autumn Leaves does, or you could roll on that. You could do what a lot of modern songs do is they stay with those 4 chords, and then if they get to the bridge, they might do something a little different, or the chorus, they might do something a little different. But then they come back to this, and it's the main progression, the main theme, if you will. All right? So now we're going to do one more. But now I'm going to drop the 7th chord, okay? I'm going to go back to what our original 1, 6, 2, 5. Now I'm going to go 5, 1, 6, 2. So I'm going dominant, tonic, tonic substitution, and subdominant substitution. So it's 5, 1, 6 minor, 2 minor. 5, took the 7th out. 1, 6, 2. That has a different feel, and that's what these progressions are all about, is the feeling that it gets. Does this give you the feeling and emotion you're looking for within your song? Okay, or your tune, be that as it may. Okay, so you with me so far? All right, so let me play this with the drum machine in my piano here. So here we go. 5, 7, 5, excuse me. 1, 6 minor, 2 minor. Let's do it again. 5, 7, 1, 6, 2. See how that feels? It's got a little bit different feeling to it. It's got a very rolling feeling, like it doesn't really want to end. So you'd have to find, you know, with progressions like this, you have to find a way to somehow get out of it at the end of the song. You either have to fade out on it, or you have to find some way to get to the 1 on a special ending. Perfectly fine, whatever you do. All right? All depends upon the kind of music you're going to be doing. All right, so we're going to run through a bunch of examples here. Now, these are just examples, and by no means this is exhaustive, okay? This is not everything that you can do within the strictly diatonic realm, but especially within the four-chord realm, you could definitely have other possibilities, all right? So we're going to do subdominant, tonic, dominant. So that means I'm going to go 2, 4, 1, 5. Okay? So I'm going to go D minor, F, C, and then G7. So I'm going to go D minor, F major, C major, G7. See how that feels like it just brightens a little bit, but it feels like it's still there, still the same. And then 1, a feeling of rest, feeling of unrest. It needs resolution. Okay? Let's see how that works with the drum machine. All right? So again, it's 2 minor, 4, 1, 5, 7 of 1. Though we're not going to 1, we still call it that. 2 minor, 4, 1, 5, 7. I'm going to do that again. Four, 1, 5, 7. And I'm going to double it up. Okay? So that's how that particular progression feels. Now, I'm going to move things around a little bit. I'm still going to do subdominant, tonic, dominant, but in this case, I'm going to do D minor, C, A minor, G. D minor, C, A minor, G. Now, one of the things about this particular sequence is that I start in the D minor and I go down a whole step, which happens to be C major. Then I go to the substitution of A minor, and then it goes down a whole step to the dominant, and I go back to 2. Okay? Let's see how this feels with the drum machine. Remember, it's 2 minor, 1, 6 minor, 5, 7. Well, in this case, I'll do it 5, 7. D minor, 2, 1, 6 minor, 5, 7. Back to 2. 1 major, 6 minor, 5, 7. Now let's do it faster. Okay, now in this case, the subdominant is just delaying the resolution of the dominant, which is the G chord, to the 1. It's just delaying that possibility ever so much, and then it drops to the 1. So it's not really stopping the dominant from resolving, it's just delaying it a little bit. That's just my feeling. I'm sure there are other people that have their own opinions about it. So what I'm going to show you here is we're going to go 1, tonic, 5, which is the dominant, to 2, which is the subdominant substitution, to the 4 chord, which is the subdominant. So it's 1, which is C, G, D minor, F, back to the 1. All right? So let's hear that with the drum machine. Again, it's 1, 5, 2, 4. Here we go. 1, 5, 2, 4. Let's do that again. 1, 5, 2, which is the D minor, 4, 1, 1, 5, 2, 4. Okay, and that has a particular feel to it. Kind of, it feels like a blues without being blues, if you get my drift. Now I'm going to do another one very similar to that, but it's going to be more like going tonic, dominant, tonic, subdominant, which happens a real lot, especially in folk music, where sometimes they'll go dominant, they'll go tonic, subdominant, tonic, dominant. But it can happen either way, okay? So if we go 1, G, dominant, 1, subdominant, which is the F, and then back to 1. But now in this case, I'm going to substitute the second tonic with an A minor. So I'm going to go C, which is the tonic, number 1, to G, which is the dominant, the 5/7, the 5 of 1, to A minor, which is substitution for tonic, right? The 6th chord, to F, which is subdominant. But this has a particular feeling with that A minor going to the F. See that feeling? That half step interval kind of lifts you up a little bit at the end of the progression. But it doesn't resolve it. But it does lift it up a little bit, which I find kind of unique. Let's hear it with the drum machine. So again, we're going to go 1, C, 5, G, 6 minor, A minor, and then 4, F again. Okay? So it sounds like... 6, 4, 1, 5, 6, 4. Do it again. Let's start on the 4 chord. So far we started on the 2, started on the 6. Let's start on the 4 chord. Plenty of experimentation out there, folks. So we're going to go subdominant, which is the F chord, 4 chord, to the tonic. Back to the subdominant, substitution, which is D minor. And then G. Then back to the F. See, it's got that kind of blues feeling starting all over. Let's hear that with the drum machine. 4, 1, 2 minor, 5 of 1. Okay, so let's try this with the drum machine. F, which is the 4 chord, C, which is the 1, G, which is the 5 chord, A minor, and we're back to that F. Let's feel it faster. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing one more time. But I'm going to take the progression and I'm just going to move it around. I'm going to, instead of starting on the 4 chord, I'm going to do the same progression, but I'm going to start it on the 6 chord. So it's going to be tonic substitution, subdominant, tonic, dominant, like I was talking about earlier. Okay, let's see how this feels, because now we'll have an uplift in the very beginning, leap, leap, and then a little uplift. So it sounds like A minor, F, tonic, C, G, then back to A minor. Now let's try it with the drum machine. A minor, the 6 chord, 4 chord, F, C, the 1 chord, G, A minor again. Okay, so that's how it feels. Experiment with this. They all have a different feeling, and it depends upon the kind of feeling or emotion you're shooting for. So, if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you and your take on all of this. If there are other progressions or music questions you would like me to answer, feel free to drop me a line. And please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button and the notice, and it'll let you know when I make up more of these videos. And this is Ralph Martin for Brass Dragons. As always, be well, be safe, be happy.